On your multiple choice?
Oh, yes.
All right, Joyce. Hi. The plan
Has it started yet?
is
Yeah.
Oh.
the plan is that we just design it and send it to Richmond for him to approve it. We were thinking either Amanda does it or you do it. Leave in
Does
the
she even
comments.
know what it is?
The sweatshirts for the. Sorry, I'm sorry. The
Okay,
sweatshirts.
Joyce.
Like, leave a comment below.
Anyways, so we would like to have our sweatshirt say, "Don't drink and drive." If there's something that you think that you could do to make it great, Joyce, we would appreciate you designing it. But if not, one of us will try to do it as well. So, yeah. Thank you. Love you, Joyce. Love you too, George. Joyce?
It's a good conversation you're having
I
here.
know. Joyce and I go way back.
Breaking the fourth wall. It's okay.
For what value of X relative max? Next up test.
What is selective incorporation?
It's the incorporation doctrine.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't really sure.
I think that's what I read in my notes that I wrote. Like literally, I read one page of notes last night, and I was like, I don't want to do this, and that was the one thing I read.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got lucky.
You guys done?
Nope.
Not even close.
Oh, why not?
Because I suck at math.
Because I honestly have to look back and forth like twice before I even start the problem.
Oh, that would have been easier. I multiplied it all out, and then I'm finding,
Why?
yeah, you know, I realized that after.
Well, maybe the second one, but not the first.
No, I'm doing the second one right now, but that's kind of sad. Cool.
Are you running in white, Misty?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Oh,
she's just
then
her
yeah.
screen's frozen.
Aw, now it's Lindsay.
Hashtag OCD problems.
Let's go back to it. Oh, I heard you were dissing Peyton Manning and me today, Misty.
I'm busy with one.
Kiwis.
Hashtag first world problems.
This is upsetting. I'm gonna go back and redo this.
Wait, come on, this is 2x minus 6
I want to make glitch now. I hate this. Help?
Nope,
Dang it.
we get no help.
Thanks, George.
Whoa.
0.
Is that an option? No, it's not. Why would it be? Like, why would my answer be an option?
I'm gonna cry. Because I actually have to plug this in now. I feel like it. 4.
I must have missed. Oh, that's why it's so stupid. Wait, Misty. I think you're probably wrong for number 2. I think isn't it a -3?
Number 2?
She's doing number
Oh,
one.
number 1. Never mind.
Number one.
Never good. Never mind.
Are you multiplying it all out?
No.
Oh. Can we use your calculator?
No.
Chop down. Don't be chop down that hard.
Why is number 1 wrong?
Hey, I just want to cry because I don't all the things. Negative, -2, -3, just the, there.
Kira, why did you dress up today?
Because
Yeah,
I woke
that's
up
what
late
it
this
sleeps
morning
in,
and I didn't
man.
have time to change.
Therefore,
What?
think that through for a minute.
That's the whole joke!
Okay.
Plus the PJs I was wearing last night were like actual sweats. So.
I'm wearing actual sweats.
Sinners.
Just kidding.
What's wrong with that? There was
I don't
no
think you're
rule
actually allowed to wear
against wearing
sweats.
Yes, you are.
Because I wear shorts.
There's
You
no-
are not on the other days, but on PJ day you are.
Oh, you're telling me that now?
Did that work? You didn't ask.
It may have worked, but I don't know because I did it wrong.
All I know is that, wait, what?
Why'd you do it wrong?
Because I'm stupid and I'm never gonna
I
have
didn't
that
like
again.
factor out
That's
anything.
You didn't factor out? Oh, that would have been horrendous.
Yeah.
I didn't factor out.
Second D
Yeah.
first.
Well, we just
Plus
assumed.
Plus
that
first
we-
D second.
That's big and D second.
Yeah. Plus first D
zeros are-
second, and then it's U prime is just one, so it doesn't really matter. And
I get
then
what you did.
there's
How on
Four-
God's green earth did
no.
you get that?
3 shared x
you
plus
pulled out the
3s,
x.
and there's 4 shared x minus 2s. So I pulled out 4 shared x minus 2s and 3 shared x plus 3s. I had 1 more x plus 3 and a 5, and I had 1 more x minus 2 and a 4.
So the zeros are still the same.
So then I have zeros out here and here and here.
In that case, I did it wrong. So I got kill myself.
Don't do that.
So,
Does that make sense though?
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it. though.
whatever.
Come on, AP loves to factor out stuff.
Well, I can.
We can do it too.
No, the AP can go
Ah,
eat egg juice.
that's weird.
That's
How do you
disgusting.
eat juice?
Sorry,
Focus.
drink egg juice.
Can you juice an egg?
No, I mean, you know how you have like pickled eggs? That stuff.
What?
Nope.
I'm not white.
Oh,
But white people.
Wow.
I'm not sure if white people.
Irish.
If I go down to the south, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find some people with some white egg pickled juice stuff.
It's I believe it's the Irish. I saw it in an episode of Castle, right? Leave me alone.
This class is a minority majority.
What does that mean?
It's in the
She's
homework
white.
tonight.
And everybody else is.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Crazy.
What's a minority majority?
When
When
the
the
minority,
minority,
it makes
the
it a
minorities.
bigger population than the majority.
Then how are we the minority?
Exactly.
Are we the majority?
Exactly, that's what I
And you're
don't
the
understand.
minority. How is
Because
that?
legally,
What am I?
we're minorities.
Yeah.
Legally.
Huh?
Legally, we're
Huh?
minorities. Legally, people who aren't white are
Hmm.
minorities.
Are we actually getting work done? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna
because I
try.
don't get this.
I know, I
know
don't
why
either.
that's wrong. My answer's not there.
With mine?
No, for
Oh,
number
it's
two.
number 2?
For number-
Okay, I'm coming.
For number 2, I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh my goodness
Is
gracious.
that a threat or a promise?
Hopefully
threat.
neither. You guys are killing me.
No, we're killing Gerardo.
Gotta stay on. Gotta kill the right person here. We don't want to get convicted for the wrong
I'm
thing.
like,
I feel you, George.
Okay, so your critical numbers are 3 and then 7/3, right? No, yes.
Something like that. But then again, I got my answer wrong. So, that doesn't count.
X equals. I want to cry because I got the same thing. Got the same answer. Huh?
But 3 doesn't count because it
7/3.
doesn't.
No, I got a 3x minus 7. I mean
don't know why
6.
it does. I don't know why.
How'd you get 3x minus 7?
3 doesn't count because it's not an option. How about that?
It's positive 3, right? Because it's x minus 3 and you pulled out. Yeah.
No, but if you have x minus 2 plus 2x minus 2, wouldn't that be 3 times x minus 3x minus 6?
That's what I got.
Yeah.
But I got 2x minus 6.
Did these do something wrong?
No, 2 times 2 is -4, -4 minus 3 is -7, and then 2x and 1 is 3x, 3x minus 7.
I'm just tracking.
Right?
Oh, I see what I did wrong. I pulled out an x minus 3 and I wrote x minus 2 for some reason.
So plugging in
I
0
don't know why I did that.
would be a negative, negative, positive. Plugging in a 2 2/3. Yay.
Why is this
Plugging
harder
in
than
4.
homework?
4 is a positive and a positive. So that must be a negative. Process of elimination and relative maximum would be a 7/3. Yay! Because there has to be one, right? So then that must have been a negative.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Can you like explain like the first line for number 2? Yeah, like the,
I did second D first, so I took the x minus 3 squared times derivative of x minus 2 is 1 plus first D second, brought down to 2, made it a 1, chain rule times D prime. I
yeah.
saw shared x minus 3,
Oh, and then, okay.
so to save me work.
Yeah.
How do you plug in at 7/3 that fast?
I didn't. But I plugged in 0, and I plugged in 4, just to my factored form, because it's easy. And then I figured if there had to be a relative max, that must be minus,
If there had to be a relative max.
which there did. Because it said, does it have a relative max? So one of these had to make a max, so that must be a minus that I had to sign change.
Ah!
And I wouldn't have plugged in 7/3, I would have plugged in like 8/3, and that just did not sound fun. Number 3, yeah.
Can you zoom into the
Yeah.
Can yours plug in 2? Just kidding. Never mind.
It's okay. I'm tracking, I kinda was thinking that too, and I was like, wait.
Well, why can't you put in a 2?
Because
It's 2 and a third.
7/3 is more. Wow.
Oh, man.
If
Two
g is a
and a half.
differentiable function such that g prime is less than 0,
I haven't even gotten that.
negative, if f prime equals, which of the following is true? What would my critical numbers be?
Plus or minus 3.
Mm-hmm.
These make me feel stupid. I feel like I can't do calculus when I do these.
They're giving you limited information on purpose to confuse you. But we can still do a sign chart though, and we know that g of x is always negative. So that's gonna help us with our sign chart. We know the plus or minus 3 from x squared minus 9. We know g can't be 0 because it says less than 0. So we put all those clues together, make a sign chart. I can actually get there. Not g, f prime, right?
What was that? Let's say f prime of x equals,
F prime equals x squared minus 9, that quantity times g of x. So then plugging in -4, that's gonna be a positive for x squared minus 9, but g is always negative, right? Plugging in 0, that's gonna be a negative, g is negative, so that's a positive. Plugging in 4, positive times negative is negative.
a has a negative, f has a negative maximum, relative maximum at x equals -3.
Yeah, maximum at 3 and then a minimum at -3. So let's see which one matches up.
So you do a sign chart. Oh, okay, those are the options. Okay, I thought you could do each.
So we have a min at -3, right?
Yeah, so see?
Min, why not max? Ah, C says a min both. We have a min and a max.
I don't know.
Can you have 2 mins? I don't think you can have 2 mins right in a row, can you?
You can, but it wouldn't be a continuous function. Yeah.
Can you make that sign chart?
Oh, show you the sign chart? Yeah, we'll pause on the FRQ just because we need to go do optimization. But as Gerardo's checking out my sign chart. Question, why did I have you go through and review all this stuff?
So we can
We're
cry.
using it.
We're using it. How are we using it?
We want to find maxes.
Because optimization is all about maximums and minimums. Optimization is all about maximizing and minimizing.
I'm just confused
Don't
as
worry.
to how you
Oh.
got
Confused on.
how you got that so fast.
She's a math wizard.
Well, because we just have to plug into x squared minus 9 and we just know that g is always negative from the given. So I just plugged in -4, 16 minus 9 is positive, positive times negative is negative. Or do you mean this one? Then 0, 0 minus 9, negative, 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 positive, and then 4, that's gonna be the same case as the other.
On that last one, is that a nifty little, on the 2, is that a nifty little trick to be like, yo, this is how you do it faster?
Well, it's basically just reading the question and they're saying that there's guaranteed to be a relative max, there can't be a relative max there, so there must have been here. But you could also plug in 8/3.
So is it always faster to do the opposite ends first and then go in the middle?
I just did it because I looked at it quick, Gerardo, like I started here and I was like 0, then I was like 2 1/3 and 3, and I'll try here and then I'll go back. So I was just double checking.
Okay.
Alright, what are the clue words that you guys are gonna see for optimization?
Find that maximum.
Yeah, find the max, find the min, minimize, maximize, what else?
What is the most?
Most, least,
And I'm like, optimize.
could actually say optimize or find an optimum. Optimize, optimum.
Maybe the optimist.
Most, least, amount of material,
Peyton
for
Manning,
instance.
Tom Brady.
Wait,
I
least?
thought you didn't like Tom Brady.
Max and the min.
Oh, there you go.
You see?
Minimize, maximize.
I get it.
But the min of what? That would have to be a very selective tool.
The
For
min of
Tom
the
Brady,
NFL.
be the min, literally.
He is the min of all quarterbacks
Oh.
because he's
I feel like
smart.
Colin Kaepernick is a little bit worse.
We've had a little bit of struggles with quarterbacks recently.
Who? Broncos?
Everyone.
Heritage.
Oh, they just said.
Not
we
the
are
last 2
like the
weeks.
Broncos. It was-
Minimize, maximize, optimize, most, least, anything else? Closest,
Farthest.
farthest.
Swag.
Is it with an A or with a U? Farthest or furthest?
Farthest. Farthest is a distance, further is more of a,
Furthermore,
yeah, further is,
additionally, I don't know.
We're
I would like to develop this argument further, but we don't have time.
Oh, ooh, fancy.
Sounds like Tigger. Guidelines!
Oh, I didn't finish that.
Oh, what'd you miss?
Doesn't figure out
Oh,
what.
no, I mean, the whole last thing, I wasn't that far, I didn't copy down everything. Optimized.
It was just things that indicate highs and lows, basically. Indicate all givens, or identify all givens, what needs to be found, draw a picture if possible. Now, I talk about primary, secondary, this is not AP though, right? I just talk about figure out your primary objective, true?
Yeah.
Your primary objective is what needs to be maximized or minimized. So figure out what they're talking about, secondary equation. If you need to, plug it in, check the feasible domain. Like if you're making a can from a certain amount of materials, you can't have a dimension be 0, so that's gonna be like a domain restriction. And then if you have only a limited amount of materials, well obviously one dimension cannot use up all the materials. It needs to be shared, et cetera, et cetera. But number 5 is what I'm focused on, use calculus to find the max or min. And how do we find the max or min? Quick, just recap, you guys tell me.
Well, you find the critical numbers first.
Find the critical numbers first, good, now what?
Plug into the first.
Put it to sign chart of the
You
first
could plug
derivative.
into a sign chart of the first derivative, or if the second derivative is easy, you could just plug in the numbers
Yeah,
to the second derivative, depending on the case, right?
because sometimes if the second derivative is a constant value, it's still viable, right?
Right,
Okay, cool.
because it'll give you the concavity. But hopefully you don't have multiple critical numbers, because then it might get confusing. So then, don't worry, I'll dual page. Nice. Boop. Boop, boop. What do we do with this one? A manufacturer wants to design an open box having a square base and a surface area of 108 square inches. Maybe that's like an ideal minimizing cost amount of material. I don't know. As shown in figure 3.53, what dimensions will produce a box with maximum volume? What's the struggle with this? You gotta go back to geometry and say, wait a minute, what measures all this stuff? Like when it talks about
Area.
surface area. They do give you a formula, and usually the AP guys do too, but you guys have good logic, right?
Depends on my boundary.
Base times width times height will be the volume, right? And we're trying to maximize volume. So that is our primary objective, that's our primary goal. So we're thinking about the volume of a box. It's a square base, wouldn't we have volume equals x squared h?
Because it's a square.
Now, if they weren't giving us any other information, I guess we could go about trying to take a derivative, but the point is that they gave us some other restriction so that we can put this box in terms of one variable instead of two, because to take a derivative right now, it'd be a mess. But if we can get volume as a function of one variable, probably preferably x,
Wouldn't
that
you
will be
be kind
enough.
of implicit there, because you have like two
Twice
variables.
you're saying.
Yeah, but the problem is with implicit, we couldn't just take a derivative with respect to one variable, or else we'd have like not only a dv dx, but also a dh dx, and who knows what that rate is. So instead it might be easier just to use the clue of 108 inches. George?
Since it's a box, why isn't h equal to f?
It's a box, but it didn't say it was a cube. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's a square base. I thought
Yeah.
it's a square box.
Oh, there we go. That would make more sense. So then our clue is the 108 inches, and the 108 inches makes the surface area, and the surface area is going to be 1 square x squared, just using our logic, right? And how many hx's?
4.
Which I suppose they do give us, but we don't need them to give that to us. What would be the easiest thing to solve for? I would say h, right?
Yes.
Because we have a relationship between x's and h's, so then if we can get volume in terms of one variable, life is better. So then I would see subtract the x squared, divide by 4x. Look good to you guys?
Yep. And we could, we don't have to.
And the point is, we can get h in terms of x, and then this function is much nicer in terms of, hey, we have to take a derivative, and hey, we have to optimize. Find its max. So now all of a sudden, you guys can see if we multiply x squared, then this x would cancel, right? So we can go ahead and get just x.
How do you get x squared h again?
Oh, base times height. Area to base times height. So we can go ahead just for sake of argument. Let's make the 108 over 4x minus x squared over 4. Split that puppy up.
X over 4.
Thank you. So then we go ahead and distribute on in. X's cancel, we end up with
108.
108
No.
goes in, or 4 goes in, right?
Yeah.
27.
2 and
27x minus x cubed,
X cubed.
1/4 x
140.
cubed. Good.
Let's do that. Math skills.
Let's see.
Check.
Our whole point is to maximize, so then we just find a derivative. The nice thing is, at this point, from some of our simplifying, life has gotten a lot better.
We could just do the first derivative, get the correct numbers, and then do the second derivative, that'll be a lot faster.
Yeah, because it's power rule, right? So we can go ahead and just say, okay, v prime is equal to 27 minus 3/4 x squared, v double prime. To do the second derivative test would be negative 3/2 x, right?
But then you have to find the correct numbers of the first one. That would just be.
Solve the top one,
So
so equal to 0, and that would be at x is equal to,
21.
subtract the 27,
What's 27 divided by 3?
times 4
9.
divided by 3, which will be 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus or minus square root of 36, plus or minus 6, but why am I just going to write positive 6?
Because you can't have
You
negative.
can't have a negative length of a box. And then we can go ahead and just to double check, plug in what's v double prime of 6.
9. Negative 9.
Yeah, a negative value. So then negative 9 is less than 0, therefore
It's a max. It's a max.
it's maximized at x equals 6, but x was only one dimension, right?
So it's only fine.
So we could say 6 by 6 by, who's h again?
108
108 minus 36,
over 6.
that'd be 72.
Over,
And 72 over 4 times 6 is 24, which would be 3. Is
yeah,
that right, my mental mathers?
yes. Just 3 days to 72 hours.
Hey, there you go. Would have never thought of that. I just think about quarters. And we end up with inches. Inches by inches by inches.
Did they ask us for the max volume?
Dimensions. And technically, if you needed to prove it, they said justify why it's a max, which we could have done. We just justified it was a relative max, but if we looked in context of the problem, x cannot be less than 0. That's not going to work. And then x has to be bound by this 108 formula. So like if h was 0 and we used all the material just on the x, then we would have x squared equals 108, so that'd be root 108, whatever that is. Pull out a 4,
It can't equal 0, can it? Because
pull
it
out a
can't.
9, pull out a 36. 6 root something. 36 times 6? No. Pull out a 4, 27, pull out a 9, 3. 2 and 3 makes 6, root 3, is that right? Yeah. And then when we plug in our critical number of 6, looking at our v prime, we would end up with a positive and a negative, so strictly increasing, strictly decreasing, the maximum is at 6. By nature of the function. But that's only if we need to prove it. And we wouldn't just write the sign chart, of course, we would justify blah, blah, blah. Question?
Why don't we have to plug into the original again?
Just because, I didn't plug into the volume, because they just said what dimensions will produce a box with maximum volume.
Right, but oh right, because I'm not asking for gas.
Right. So if we needed to, we could plug in an x and an h, and then we could get the volume, but we just plugged into this one to get h, and we were done.
Why did you do 6 twice?
Because.
Dimensions of the box, length, width, height.
Oh, okay. You found x and it's x and x.
Alright, so then what if, let's make it more exciting.
Oh, yeah, so,
This is the one you might not have liked last year,
oh, yeah.
hence why I brought it back. I only gave you one in homework. But how do we think about closest? The EP recently has liked giving you funny graphs and asking you funny questions. Not necessarily this one, but similar. Closest. Sam's gone away.
Yeah. This is AP GoPro test. What a schmuck. Oh, he's not gonna watch this, right?
No, he's not. Closest. What does closest mean? We need to minimize who?
Distance.
Let's see if you guys remember the trick from last year for minimizing distance.
Not even close.
What's the distance formula from any point on this curve 4 minus x squared in the point 0, 2?
Root.
Square root of, you subtract x.
X minus 0. Oh,
No,
Oh,
would it be
0,
y
you're right.
first?
well, it doesn't matter.
It technically doesn't
Addition
matter
is
because addition is commutative.
Okay.
So to be honest, Ryder, I don't really
0
get this one
squared
memorized.
plus.
It might have been. Is that good?
And then we can go x squared plus y minus 2 squared. If we want
What's the struggle? I have too many.
variables.
So what's my clue?
We have
That
to solve,
relates my x and my y to help me get it in terms of one variable.
We have to
This
solve.
function.
Wait, can we plug y equals? Can we plug 4 minus x squared for y?
We can plug in 4 minus x squared for y, or we can plug in 4 minus y for x squared. What do you want to do?
The
4 minus x squared.
Yeah, just plug in for y.
Okay. This is normal.
Yeah.
So we end up with d is equal to the square root of x squared plus 4 minus x squared minus 2.
So x to the 4th minus 8x squared. No.
Mm-hmm, you're killing puppies.
Am I really?
By 4.
Yeah. So it would be 16, right?
Oh, you were going. Got it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were going.
Wait, did you pull out a two? Oh, you did.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a 4, and then minus a 4x squared plus a 1 minus a 3x squared, true, and then plus x to the 4th?
Yeah.
Does that line up?
I don't know, I was way behind you.
Does it make sense what I'm doing, Ben?
Mm-hmm.
So I FOIL, 4 minus 4x squared plus 1x squared plus,
What happened to the x squared up there? Did it just kind of?
I combined, because I had negative 4x squared and plus 1 would be 3. Negative 3.
Okay.
Now we need to minimize distance, struggle, which means we need to
Derive.
derive, but ew, it has a square root.
To the 1
1
half
over
chain rule.
2. No.
Couldn't we theoretically
Make the root
Say
equal up.
the minimum distance will be the exact, or occur at the exact same place as the minimum square distance?
Yes.
I'm not sure. The
Yeah.
lowest number will have the lowest square, true? Because 4 squared is lower than 5 squared, 3 squared is lower than 4 squared. The lowest number will have the lowest square. So why am I saying that?
So we don't need to worry about square root.
Yeah. Instead, we can just say, hey, let's minimize, let's just call f of x the square of the distance, so 4 minus 3x squared plus x to the 4th. And let's minimize f of x, the square distance. So we end up with f prime of x equals negative 6x plus 4x cubed. Why not? We want to actually justify stuff. Well, negative 6 plus 12x squared. Our critical numbers will occur at,
You can pull
pull out 2x, I guess.
2
We end up with 2x squared minus 3.
And then 0 and 3 halves? Oh no, root 3 halves.
And just positive root 3 halves, right? Because negative is unrealistic.
Well, it's
Well.
a graph, right?
Oh, hey, why is there a positive and a negative? Because it's symmetric. True?
Yeah.
And it says which points, struggle. Is there a positive or a negative?
Yes.
We better include the positive or a negative.
So then it's probably 0.
Probably not 0, just based on the context, so we could go ahead and double check real quick.
Oops,
Plugging in 0 to our second derivative, that's gonna be
negative.
right. So since f double prime of 0 is less than 0, that's gonna be a relative max, right? I definitely don't want a relative max for a minimize.
And then it'll be
Let's-
positive, no, it'll be negative. No, positive and positive.
Yeah. Plugging in the other derivatives, they're gonna be positive, which means I'm gonna have a relative min. And in context of the entire shabam, bless you.
Thank you.
Technically, there are endpoints at 2 and negative 2, but if you guys look at 2 and negative 2, we know that distance is gonna be farther. We could go ahead and test it, but they're not gonna ask us to justify, we're just trying to find the answer. So our final answer, what points are going to be closest to?
What's the other question?
Struggle, would you have remembered to put the entire point?
No.
It says which points we would have needed the x's and the y's. Struggle.
And Steve, if I have like a negative root 3 over 2 squared, would the squared get rid of the negative and the square root, or just
Hold on, negative root,
3 over 2 squared, quantity squared?
where's the square?
Outside.
Outside,
Yeah,
then positive.
just positive, but it's still.
Positive 3 over 2.
Oh, positive 3 over 2, not root 3.
But if it was just the root that was squared, then it'd be a negative. Depends on whether or not it's included. So then, why is George saying that? Because he's plugging into who? To him. 4 minus x squared. The nice thing is it's symmetric, so if we find one, we find both. And if we square root 3 over 2, it's going to be the same thing as just 3 over 2.
Is it square root of 3 over 2, or is it a square root of 3 halves?
You add the 3, divide by the 2, and square root the whole shebang.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
And then it's 4 minus.
So then square the whole shebang, that'd be 3 halves, which would be 8 halves. 8 halves minus 3 halves is 5 halves. Sweet.
Is
Dun,
that,
dun, dun, dun.
is it the same for both?
Yeah.
Because it's symmetric, I just cheated real quick. But you can also think if you plug in a positive square and a negative square, it ends up being the same. Is that okay?
I'm supposed to slow at this.
There was just a lot of math, wasn't there? There was a lot of math on this page.
Did anybody take French?
Joyce is.
Joyce? Never mind, I don't know how to pronounce it. What is Quiche Chevier? I think. Tell me that when you listen to the video. You see it.
Answer in the comments below.
What? Go team. All right, economics applications.
Oh no.
I thought that's a cosine of t.
That's actually really funny. Okay, given revenue and
I was
cost.
like, doesn't it?
Maximize cost.
Mexican's
Can we just talk about real quick? Not maximize cost, that's not what I want. Maximize profit, lo siento, I don't know why I put cost. You want to minimize cost if you have,
We want to maximize costs because we want to go under and without the brain for big
yay, go team. So, coming back,
Ponzi schemes.
maximizing profit. If they give you revenue and cost, question, what is profit?
What do you gain, net gain?
Net gain, and net gain would be found by what?
Revenue minus cost.
Revenue minus cost, right?
Or the cost minus revenue? No, I'm just kidding.
It'd be negative, parentheses, cost minus revenue.
So if we're trying to maximize profit, what are we going to have to do?
Find max profit. P prime. So
Mhm.
R prime minus.
We'll just say of t, for sake of not having much else. R prime of t minus C prime of t.
Plus what here will T.
And then we're going to set our critical numbers equal to 0, or our derivative equal to 0 to find our critical numbers, not undefined because you're not going to have an undefined profit, it's either positive or negative or 0, right?
Yeah.
So when, or for what points do we need to check to find the maximum for profit?
Where R prime of T equals 0 and C prime of T equals 0. Oh.
R prime equals C prime.
Oh, because it's.
Does that make sense? So where the derivative of revenue equals the derivative of cost. Whoop, there we go. And then technically, if we needed to find the maximize, or to maximize the profits, if there were any sort of endpoints, if there were any sort of restrictions as far as the money that was being plugged in or the units being sold, then remind me real quick, how we test for absolute extrema? If it was on a closed interval?
design
Did
test?
you-
First derivative test, right?
Uh,
Or both, I guess. But you have to do the
Endpoints.
endpoints.
you have to do the endpoint, so somewhere you need to be testing, right? In context of this problem, if we did have endpoints, we would need to test our critical numbers and our endpoints and choose which one has the maximum profit. True?
First is money is abusing.
What? Go team.
Will we do it? Will we win?
Does that make sense?
That's coming.
Is the question from what they're helping me with?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Speaking of homework,
get the bleach.
does anybody have a book?
Me.
I have a book
Am I the only
over
one
there on the
who's
shelf.
book in class?
Possibly.
Cause she says she got a class set.
That's
Are you gonna have to order more, or do you guys have some?
For next year, for sure, yeah. I think we have like maybe a few extra in the shed, but not very many. Turn in your spirals. If you have not started homework yet, I'm gonna give you the assignment.
We have like 2 minutes.
I know, exactly. You get the assignment down, not need to look it up later and waste all that time. Look at this guy.
We never
And-
had time in class. I'm happy about this.
And,
No, last week all we did was start homework for like the first 30 minutes of class, and then we went over for like another 7.
I'm not entirely sure if my spiral is gonna be empty by the time we get halfway through the year. Like, look at this, I'm already done almost.
Steve, do you want to see my costume for this week's CS?
yes.
No, you guys can't see it.
Oh,
You guys can't see it. At 366.
someone turn on the heater.
But Miss T's not voting her.
I'm not special.
I don't know if you guys are gonna vote. No, you're not voting, but like, you guys are, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my goodness, look how few
Not for this
problems.
Aren't they all like word problems?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mr. Bacon,
This is being Manning for you.
Mr. Bleach.
He's so
I
So
think
awesome.
that's
I know, right?
I won't lie.
I think Matt told me.
Oh, dang it, man.
And it's on, Twitter.
Yeah.
Is it
I
really?
have the name.
Okay.
Matthew.
You ready? That doesn't mean that they know what your
I
costume
know,
looks
not
like.
because my costume was made by
Number 2,
hand.
maximizing area. Number 5, maximizing area of inscribed rectangles. Ooh, that's exciting.
No.
Number 9, the best fencing plan. I love these names. They have their names on every single one.
Oh.
Number 14,
That's
vertical motion. Huh?
Oh.
Motion. Number 17, designing you can. Number 23, maximizing profit. Ooh, number
We have a
27,
student union.
tour service. You get to operate a tour service. That's kind of fun. Number 41, you guys will be backing up. Calculus and geometry, closest to, got it.
What's the minimum amount of
45,
bleach you
vertical
can
motion
drink
with springs.
before you
And
die?
number 50, selling backpacks.
Cup, right?
Alright, cool kids.
No, for
You
now,
got this,
really
get out of
big point.
If I come here
Two,
at
five,
5:30 in
nine.
the morning, will you guys come and help me?
14, 17,
Miss
16.
T,
I won't have donuts that early. Coffee won't quite be done either.
and by the classroom will.
But George will be here
What?
in the hallway, waiting to help.
I might.
I'm kind of down if I go to security.